Complexities selling on Amazon continue to go up. Part of the reason for that is because a lot of complex money is being invested into the space, and so your competition is going up. Today I talk with Chris Shipferling of Global Wired Advisors, and we go into a lot of details about some of the financial complexities, the numbers, and where you're going to need to go. And I think I actually talk a little bit about hummus ice cream. You'll have to see what this is about. Selling on Amazon is difficult. It's everything but passive income. I share videos like this one to help Amazon sellers on their journey. My name is Stephen Pope, and I'm the founder of My Amazon Guy. When Amazon turns your world upside down, tune into My Amazon Guy to land safely and grow your Amazon business. All right, I'm now joined by Chris. Thanks so much for coming on the My Amazon Guy podcast. So Chris, tell us a little bit about yourself, some of your background, and what do you do?
Yeah, great question. So I'm one of the managing partners at Global Wired Advisors. We are a lower middle market investment bank focused on digitally native enterprises. That's just a fancy way of saying we're focused on digital assets. That includes e-commerce, consumer products, SaaS, and also digital agencies, or digital marketing agencies, Amazon consulting agencies, folks like yourself.
So I had a few of you guys knock down my doors this last year due to all the demand and growth. I finally went out and publicly said, "Hey, I'm not for sale. I'm building to hold." But we'll talk a lot today about what Amazon businesses and entrepreneurs will be doing on that front. But I think a lot of people will find value in your perspective today because you see a lot of money change hands. You see a lot of business partnerships form and whatnot. What are you seeing in the past year, and what do you think is going to happen today that might be different?
There's been a paradigm shift that's occurred in the penetration of retail sale, e-commerce in retail sales. And what I mean by that is, you saw some growth rates in e-commerce last year, the shifting of commerce towards Amazon, specifically Walmart, Target.com, all of the .com. Shopify's value went skyrocketing throughout the year. I read an article this morning from a fairly well-known professor out of NYU that it's here to stay was pretty much his thesis, that it's not going anywhere. And so what's that done for Amazon specific, Amazon focused businesses? They've seen some of the highest growth rates that they've seen year over year ever in the history of owning their own Amazon business. I'm sure from an agency side, you've seen your clients grow exponentially.
We tripled as an agency in like 12-month turnaround. I mean, it was a gigantic growth, and our clients saw similar growth rates. It was crazy.
Well, it's an interesting, and we can go down a little bit of a rabbit trail with you later, and why your agency is now so much more important in 2021 than it was in 2018. And there's a lot of reasons.
Let's start there then. It sounds like there's interesting information there. So why is My Amazon Guy more important? I'm interested in this. Tell me about this.
Of course. Number one, there's a lot of new capital that's flooding into the space that's looking for specific operating experience that just they either A, they don't have, or B, they're looking to build through an outsourced relationship, and in some cases internally. Secondly, you've got traditional PE and traditional portfolio companies that have sat within these funds that 2020 they got caught, I'll be a little candid, with their pants down and going and looking around and going, we don't have a strong e-commerce strategy. We don't have a strong Amazon strategy.
What is the strategy? I thought it was just to sell more products to more people more often for more money, right? Like, is that not sufficient these days?
Well, when you're working, and that's been my background. My background is in operating in a more corporate environment. So I worked in small business all the way up to middle market, 22 million all the way up to $500 million. And when you're working in a corporate environment, sorry, I got distracted. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. So your internet was going in and about a little bit there, so we lost a little bit of sound. But with that in mind, though, we've seen a lot of growth. Have you seen EIBTAs go up this past few months?
Well,
Why is
yeah,
that?
let me, and my apologies. I want to make sure you could actually hear me because I saw your note that my Wi-Fi wasn't great. So I want to make sure you could hear me. To finish that thought, when you're working in such a large corporate environment and all of a sudden your brick and mortar starts to disseminate, right? It starts to go, well, where am I going to go? Where is this revenue going to go? If the Buffalo are going towards e-commerce, do I even have the infrastructure? Right? Can you hear me?
Nope, just telling the wife. She asked me what we're making for dinner, so I told her I'm shooting a podcast. Put it on
I
mute and
love
shooting the
it.
pod.
This is I love it. That's right. So anyways, yeah, when you're larger point is when you're a larger brand and you're in traditional sales channels. Yes, it's always the point of going, yes, I need to sell more, but is your company infrastructure set up for that? Do you even know what you're doing instead of just going to Amazon and saying, I want to sell more? Well, there's so many mechanics, there's so many levers, and there's just a lot of mechanics within just that statement. So therefore, my Amazon guy got more important going into 2021 than he was in 2018 because there's a lot more focus for e-commerce and specifically Amazon. And I would also follow up with this. It's getting a lot more difficult to sustain a good strategy specifically around product launch, product sustainability, as well as advertising. And that to be the case. It's getting more and more complex. There's a lot more capital being poured into the seller central platform, smart money. And so therefore that's why I made that statement.
So I agree with everything you mentioned. We have seen a lot of businesses engage us as well, where they're going in and they buy 3 or 4 brands. They come to us and we run all of their accounts together, and they're savvy entrepreneurs, business owners that know if you pour resources and group things together, everything rises together, and you've got the same sophistication running across multiple accounts. So that's interesting to hear that. It's always good to hear that feedback. Business has been good. It's been good for us as an agency. I'm sure it's good for many Amazon sellers because of it.
Yeah, and you were asking kind of, have we seen EIBTA go up? Yes, absolutely. Of course, we've seen kind of the rising tide has brought all ships up, right? If that's how you say that phrase.
Yeah.
Basically the effect of what's happened over the past year, and even prior to that. I mean, you know it. You've been in this game for a while, and you've seen Amazon's growth. It accelerated last year, but the growth prior to that was still very strong, right? And so, yes, EBITDA is absolutely going up for a lot of sellers, and that's also where we tend to get involved too. Is I think you asked me earlier in the beginning and then kind of at the end, we're a little bit more in the middle, but sometimes in the beginning, giving some good coaching and consultation on how they should be viewing their business. This is so cliche, but with an exit in mind. There's a lot behind that. It's not just a statement just to say it to a client. There's, putting on a new financial lens. Are you in growth mode? Are you not in growth mode? Et cetera, et cetera. So,
well, let's dive into the meat and potatoes. So let's talk about your company, what you guys do to help Amazon businesses, and where you guys come in. Because I'm sure a lot of your insight here will be valuable to Amazon sellers as they try and grapple with the changing landscape and why their sophistications have to go up because of that. So how do you guys help?
Yeah, so we help in a couple different ways, but our primary way that we're helping is when it comes to the full exit process. All of our backgrounds, I already mentioned mine, my 3 partners. So we're a partner-led firm. We're not a brokerage where we've got lots of 1099 desks spread across the country. That's not our model. Our model is more of a middle market investment bank model, where we've got a partner and partners and a support staff. And really what we do is we come in and we're going to help prepare the company for an exit. And that involves 3, sometimes 4 weeks of full due diligence. We're deploying a very strong team into the business. We're looking under the hood. We're trying to find any Easter bunnies that would hinder us from going to market. We're effectively doing the diligence. We're doing the Q of E, which is it's called quality of earnings. We're just making sure that the earnings are qualified. Before we put all of the marketing materials together, our books are very heavy. They're very opportunity heavy. So it's more than just putting some cute charts. It's doing lots of industry research. And a lot of that comes from our backgrounds. As I mentioned, we're a partner-led firm. My 3 other partners all came from institutional investment banking. They worked in large institutional investment banking roles, managing director. My one partner, Jason, he ran capital markets for a $11 billion hedge fund down in Miami. So we come from
easy.
large.
That sounds like passive income to me.
Yeah, when you're trading lots of securities, specifically bonds, and working in a lot of securitization as well as derivatives, it's very, very simple. It's very easy math. Very easy math side hustle. We come in. Oh, go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
No, finish your thought. You come in and what?
Yeah. So I was going to say, so we come in, we bring a very strong financial lens, of strong financial background to the deal. And then on the other side, I can wax poetic with you all day long about Amazon Seller Central, advertising, and all the operating levers and mechanisms that are involved in getting an Amazon business up and running, getting a D2C business up and running on Shopify, understanding how a company can truly go omni-channel. What does that look like? Do they have a real opportunity for shelf life in a Target, in a Walmart? So instead of just putting something together that's a basic prospectus, this is an investment book that really walks you through the yellow brick road of who is this business, who was this business yesterday, who is it today, and who is it going to be in the future? And that's really, then we take it to, go ahead. Yeah, you had a question.
Well, I was just thinking about it. So like when somebody goes on Shark Tank, for example, and they talk to people with money, there's a reason they do that, right? It's not just for the silly exposure of going on TV. It's because when you connect with people who have money, it leads to networking, connections, and opportunities, right? And so when people, and one of the things you just mentioned was getting brick and mortar presence, right? So like as an agency, we are completely digitally focused. We don't touch any brick and mortar portfolio, shelf life, you mentioned, any of that. So those are the sort of things that you're bringing to the table. So just curious, like what does it take? And by the way, we can take this podcast wherever you think you can add the most valuable insight to the audience to help people grow their Amazon sales. So take it wherever you want. But one question that comes to my mind is, what does it take to go into brick and mortar? Like what do people have to get ready for?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think there's a fairly decent sniff test when it comes to, can you go brick and mortar? And again, part of my former life, I sold to Walmart, I sold to the buyers at Target, I sold to the buyers at Bed Bath & Beyond, local regional places like Menards and Shopko and et cetera. So, I've been in front of these DMMs and I know what they're looking for. One of them, your role as a digital marketer is very important to take this product and do everything you can to scrape away any of the commodity to a product and truly start shaping it into a brand, right? Because and another good sniff test is, could I take this product and could I go and spend money at a trade show? I know that sounds simple, but it's true, right? Because if I can actually spend the money, get a booth, set this product up and this brand up at a specific trade show, then I know I could have a really strong shot at getting on shelf at name the brick and mortar, large big box retailer. Okay.
Keep going.
I was going to say, so that to me, I mean, there's a longer conversation here, but it's about branding. It's about having a real brand, and so that's part of what we're working on when we're working on the opportunity. So instead of just throwing out basic phrases like could go to brick and mortar, oh my gosh, what? There's so much more to that, right? You got to be able to defend that. And so you got to really dig in and understand the product, the brand, and everything that you're working with when you're taking the business to market. And if you're going to make that statement.
I once had a client that did a coaching session with me. They went to a trade show and they were selling, get this, hummus ice cream. And he said when he was at
that sounds disgusting.
I couldn't tell you. But you look more like a bacon ice cream guy. I'm a
Yeah, that's
I'm a
right.
milk chocolate straight up. No dark chocolate for me.
That's right.
All right. So yeah, he goes to this trade show, and he said person after person would come up to my trade show desk, table, whatever,
Yeah.
and ask me this
Yeah.
question: what do you do with your product? And he got so
Hmm.
fed up that he just finally started like explicitly saying, "You effing eat it, guys. You eat it." And so, like, I don't know, you just said trade show, and it triggered me on that for a moment. And there really wasn't any value to that story so much as just a random anecdote. But
Yeah.
sometimes you do have a product that you have to explain, and you can't just say, "Yeah, we go to trade shows. We can be ready for the brick and mortar shelf."
Well, and what you're really saying is, that's a clever, it's a clever idea, right? So it's a clever idea to go and I bring my hummus ice cream. And, I'm trying to get into all these grocery stores and specialty grocery shops, right? All these bodegas, et cetera, in New York. Well, it's an entirely different thing to bring innovation to a trade show that differentiates. It's no different, honestly, genuinely, it's kind of no different than an Amazon digital shelf, right? Which is, products that are clearly winning are either winning on price or commodity. That's not necessarily brand at all. Sometimes it is, or they're winning on some level of innovation. And you've got true, call it, pricing elasticity that you can play with there. But innovation and product innovation tends to drive better brand, right? And it drives differentiation for not only just a digital shelf, but also for a physical shelf too, right? Now the physical shelf is just more difficult to get onto because you got to truly differentiate yourself, right? A buyer only has so much real estate to give you in a planogram. So you really need to be differentiated, or you need to come to the table already having built a strong brand. Going back to you, this is where you and your agency plays a strong role. You've done a lot of the legwork to build this true brand up because look, this wasn't happening 10 years ago. It's absolutely happening now. But Amazon, a lot of buyers are going to Amazon and looking at Amazon and different categories on Amazon as editors for their own shelves. That's happening.
They're watching the trend lines for sure.
Yeah,
Sometimes
I know for a fact.
yeah, sometimes I feel like Amazon's become like Alibaba Light, right? Like it's just like
It has. No, it's true. I think you nailed it. And I think that I think over time that's going to change. Again, there's a lot of sophisticated capital that's starting to pour lots of dollars into the platform. And that bifurcates from a product and also an operating perspective. So what I mean by a product perspective is, look, man, you got to get a lot smarter about the product that you're launching on Amazon because it's getting noisy. You got to be a lot smarter about being a true product innovator and understanding, back to business school, what is a product roadmap and how is that going to affect my business going forward? From an operating side, there's a lot of really smart money that's getting poured into this platform. I think the days of the first generation guy who built his Amazon business 4 or 5 years ago, trying to still run his Amazon business by himself internally without using external resources like you, right? I think those days are going to wane. I think it's going to become more and more difficult going forward for people just to go at it by themselves.
So let's talk a little bit about that sophistication. So what I'm hearing from you is it's a mistake to go alone. Are there any other mistakes that you see people make?
Yeah, I mean, just the common ones, financial mistakes. They don't really understand their numbers. That plays both from a financial function and also just a sales and marketing function. They don't know how to read their numbers. They don't know how to read their data. So they don't really know how to make good business decisions when it comes to product development, when it comes to marketing strategy, when it comes to sales channels. Can I actually go to this? Can I even go to brick and mortar? Does it even make sense for me? Can I ramp and can I scale on Amazon? Does that even make sense to me? So they don't really know their data. Secondly, financially, they also don't know their numbers. And so, they're looking at their Amazon numbers, but they're not able to put everything together by just simply even outsourcing, the P&L work and bookkeeping work just to see a very clear P&L every month to understand, and by SKU, like what SKUs are winning, what SKUs are not winning. These are all exercises. Gosh, I used to do, day in and day out when I was working in corporate America. We were looking at everything on a SKU level basis, and we were doing what's called Sku Rationalization. Does this work? Yes or no? No, great.
This is going to resonate. So Sku Rationalization, walk me through that process. Like what makes you justify that reorder? Is that kind of what you mean by Sku Rationalization? Or focusing and spending time working on that SKU?
What justifies any effort, what makes sense? What SKUs make sense for me to focus my time, my OpEx, my CapEx? What SKUs make sense for my business? I mean, look, this is again basic principle, but just start with 80-20, right? You've heard this. Everyone on your podcast has heard this. Start with the 20% of SKUs that are representing 80% of your revenue. And then look at the rest and go, do I even need these? And is it costing me money, right? To actually spend time on this, spend advertising dollars, what are these SKUs actually contributing to my margin? And you have a true SKU rationalization conversation. Now, it's more than just purely financial function, right? It's also marketing function. Perhaps that SKU is a good gateway SKU, even though it doesn't make me money. It's a good gateway SKU to introduce somebody to a lot of my other products, right? So that's SKU rationalization. You're just looking at your SKUs and you're going line by line going, okay, from a sales and marketing perspective, does it make sense? Yes or no? From a financial perspective, does it make sense? Operationally, is it driving a lot of my metrics up or down?
So do you think that the people who are buying products on Amazon, their behavior has changed? Do you think it's the sellers that have changed? Do you think it's a combination of everything? Where are you seeing change?
I think you're seeing change. And my apologies, I had to move my computer a little bit so get stronger Wi-Fi. There's a lot of activity going on in the office right now, and so I think it's causing
that hedge fund trader. He's trying to hack the stock market right now.
He is. That's exactly right, man. He's
high frequency trading. I'm sure he's got like 11 monitors in there, Moneyball style.
Well, he's no longer. He's only focused now only on Global Wired Advisors. So that's the good news. But nonetheless, so yeah, you're asking the question. What has changed? Look, everything has changed. Let's start with the Amazon platform. The Amazon platform is way more sophisticated. It's much more complex than it was 5 years ago. I know you would agree with me. What is the best?
Absolutely.
I come to my Amazon guy in 2015, and we're spitballing about Seller Central, and the things you're telling me are, okay, here are the white hat things we can do for the A9, and then here are some of the keyword strategy we're going to go after. Well, that conversation now in 2021 involves a myriad of potential advertising options and a myriad of potential product launch options, all depending on what's the best strategy for the vertical and also what's the best strategy within budget, right? It's way more complex. So we can start there. That changed. Go ahead.
Yeah. So that obviously a lot of changes there. So as we try and think about like what we could do today as Amazon sellers. So if you could give somebody, I don't know, a 20-minute task that they could go today to work on their business and go do that's going to benefit them for this year to set them up for success, what task do you think they should be focused on right now?
Oh gosh, it's just one task, man. That's a great question. I'll
pick one or two or whatever, or say, hey, here's a myriad of 5, whatever you want to do.
I'd say it boils down to 3, and I'll be concise with all 3. Number 1, go. If you don't understand what your financial metrics are, go figure it out. And if you need some help, I have lots of resources. So please contact me. I will send you in the right direction. Secondly, know what your marketing numbers are. If you're not already using my Amazon guy, please contact my Amazon guy today, and he can absolutely help you when it comes to understanding your digital marketing metrics on Amazon. But really, and there's a lot of software, as you know, Stephen, that's out there to really help third-party sellers truly understand what their not just financial metrics, but what their marketing metrics truly look like. And then third, who are you going to be when you grow up? It's a loaded question.
Yeah.
But it's true, right? And just start with just product. Just start with product. That's the biggest one. Start with a product roadmap. Where are you going to be in 21? What are you introducing? Are you looking to rotate away from Amazon? Are you continually being innovative? Do you have the resources for innovation? Do you have the resources for fashion innovation? If you're, someone who sells, say, something that's a wheel good, or if you're actually in apparel, or et cetera, where fashion matters, are you cutting edge? Do you understand what the Pantone trends really look like? I'd say those three things, from a health perspective, and really truly getting a grasp of a 360-degree view of your business. That's longer than 20 minutes. But if you want to take a quick checkup and just for 20 minutes go, do I really know these things? And where are my holes? Then I think you're going to be able to discover those and start really plotting out how to plug those holes and just become a more thriving, healthier business.
I think every business needs three things to run: financials, operations, and marketing. And I think you just basically summarized those three things quite well. All right. So if somebody wants to better understand their financials and get in touch with you here, Chris, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah. So look, if a lot of your listeners have seen growth over the past, 12 months, that's been exponential. And we are very, very active in this space, and we're very active in helping our clients when it comes to an exit, to an eventual exit. We can really help and give very, very good coaching on what makes sense and when it makes sense to go to market. Given our financial backgrounds, given our operating backgrounds, we're able to take a really strong look at the business and give you good insight on what will the buyers think of your company. What will the buyers be willing to pay for your company? And then is there anything else you need to do now to match those exit goals that you have in mind, right? So if anyone's considering an exit, we want to have a conversation with you for sure. And
all right,
to get
Chris,
in touch with us? Is that what you asked too?
Yeah, so people...
Yeah, oh yeah, I was going to say, so it's simple. You can go to Google and type in Global Wired Advisors. We pop up number one, or go to the website, www.globalwiredadvisors.com. My email address is on there. My phone number is on there. We have a consultation form. We have a valuation tool that is changing in real time with real market data. Our deal data goes into it. That we've had with buyers and digesting data that we hear directly from the buying community. Also that data goes in there as well.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Chris. Definitely check them out, guys. Go to globalwiredadvisors.com. Check out, so you can get in contact with Chris here. We definitely covered some good ground on complexities and, really trying to understand your financials and numbers. So I appreciate you coming on today.
I appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
All right. That's the My Amazon Guy podcast. This was the My Amazon Guy podcast with Stephen Pope. Each episode helps you grow your sales on Amazon through ideas on traffic and conversion rate improvements. Hit that subscribe button right now to tune in each week. And if you need more help, go to myamazonguy.com.